Hi guys, so in this video I'm gonna give you all a small recap on the Marxist concept or the communist concept, or at some places in the syllabus you might find this as the socialist concept. Now, right off the bat, we can begin by acknowledging the fact that on a theoretical level, Marxism, communism, and socialism are three different things. Technically speaking, any theory that wants to create an equal, fair society belongs to socialism, which is like the bigger picture. Then communism was created by Karl Marx, which is considered as the most prominent, significant version of socialism. So that's communism created by Karl Marx and created by Karl Marx and developed by other political thinkers. And now that since you want to differentiate what Karl Marx originally said and what were developed later, you use the word Marxism to what originally Karl Marx said. So that is a little too advanced for you all, because for A levels you basically study about Marxism and you use the word communism to refer to the same thing, and you use the word socialism to refer to the same thing. So whenever the lesson says that socialist theory on the state, communist theory on the state, Marxist theory on the state, in the A level syllabus it refers to the same thing. So don't overthink that part. Now basically Karl Marx and Marxism and communism has a different idea when it comes to every single concept in political science. Whatever you want to say about political science, whatever the concept that you want to talk about, Marxism and communism has a different perspective. Like you want to talk about feminism, rights, states, liberty, economy, anything, whatever you want to talk about, the communism has a different perspective and they have a different interpretation which matches with the communist theory. So this was started by Karl Marx in his book Das Kapital, and there was a person who helped him to develop this theory. That was Friedrich Engels, who was known to be Karl Marx's best friend. So Marx and Engels developed this theory called communism. So according to that theory, that they identify state as a class instrument. They say this society excuse me guys as a system where the working class, which is the majority, is being dominated by the rich minority. They say it is the rich minority that dominates the working class and get their work done, and they take all the profit off of our hard work. And they say they use the instrument of state in order to do that. They say they use the instrument of state to suppress the poor class in the sense like the working class, and they use the state to prevent any of the working class people from standing up against that. So Marx identifies state as an instrument which is in the hands of the dominating rich minority. So basically Karl Marx provides an explanation how it got to this point. So Marx divides the human society into 6 social eras, 6 historical eras. Number 1, primitive communist. Number 2, slave society. Number 3, feudalist society. Number 4, capitalistic society. Number 5, socialist society. And number 6, advanced communist society, also known as future communist society. So Karl Marx says in the very beginning, in the primitive communist era, that humans were equal to one another. There were no rich people, there were no poor people. People were similar. There was no class difference, there was no rich or poor difference, and there was no working class or a dominating class. Basically, every human had to work. They are referring to the time that humans lived in caves, whereas every man had to go out and hunt, hunt for animals or cultivate grains or vegetables or whatever. And every woman had to stay back in the cave and just take care of the children and take care of the cave, right? So there were no like rich families or rich tribes or rich people like that. Basically, every man has to go out and find food. Every woman has to take care of the children and take care of the cave. And humans were similar that way. So Marx says in the very beginning of the human society, that we had a communist society where there was no class difference and there was no state during that time. So when did this era change? Marx identifies this happened when humans started developing advanced equipment. When they started discovering metal and how to use rocks as weapons and equipment, when they started developing like weapons like swords or bow and arrow, spears, traps, or when they started developing all these agricultural equipment, that they were capable of producing a bigger amount of food because of this equipment. Now back then it took about 1 week for a person to hunt a huge animal. It took about like an entire day could only result in like a smaller area of cultivation. Now that you have proper equipment and weapons, you can just hunt animals every day. In 1 day you can cultivate like acres and acres of land area, which resulted in a boost in the food production. So in the earlier primitive communist era, the production of food was enough for consumption. Once you consume whatever you produce, and that's it, there's nothing left. So you cultivate or you hunt, one of the two, and you consume that food. End of the story. The next day you have to go out and cultivate or hunt again. But now, since you develop a large amount of food, after consuming you have a remainder, a surplus of food, right? Therefore some people had bigger remainders, some people had smaller remainders. Some families had bigger remainders, some families had smaller remainders. Some tribes had bigger remainders of food, some tribes had smaller remainders of food, which meant that some people were rich than other people, some families were richer than other people, and some tribes were richer than other tribes, right? Therefore, for the first time, the rich and poor difference was made depending on the food remainder you have, the food surplus you have in your hand. So the tribes that had a bigger food remainder didn't have to go out looking for food the next day or the next week. They spent time building forts, fortresses and more weapons, and they became more stronger and powerful in terms of weapons. Whereas the tribes that had a smaller remainder, they had to go out look for food again. They didn't have time to build fortresses or create weapons. As a result, those tribes who had better weapons started invading and conquering the weaker tribes. So stronger tribes invaded the weaker tribes and enslaved them, hence the beginning of the slave society. Then came this system where you have a minority of people who are controlling everything, and the majority of the people have to do work, whereas the minority, without doing anything, they take all the profit. Majority of the people doing all the work and settling down to something less. It's all started in the second era, the slave era, where the slave owners, which was a clear minority, that they were just not doing anything, but they were getting all the profit, all the crops and all the hunting and all that. Whereas the slaves who were doing all the hard work, they had to settle down to a small amount of food. And Karl Marx says it was the slave owners who created this instrument called the state, so they can continuously suppress the slaves and get their work done, as well as prevent any slaves from fighting back against this unfair system. Right? Then Karl Marx says the third social era started. Now, by the way, when you say the slave era, the second era, this includes the tribal state, Greek city-states, and Roman Empire, all three, because slavery was like a main thing throughout all these three eras. So when the feudalist state began, Karl Marx identifies that as a third era in the society where feudalism was in action, which means the decisive factor of the richness became your land possession. More land you have, more richer you are. And that class division between slave owners and slaves was transformed into aristocrats and peasants. So the slave owner majority became the slave owner minority became the aristocratic minority in this era, whereas the slave majority became the peasant majority in this era. It's basically the same system yet again. Aristocrats don't work. They are a minority. They don't work, but they take all the profit, just like the slave owners. And you take the peasants, they do all the work. They are the majority, but they have to settle for something less because they are peasants, just like the slaves before, right? So based on your bloodline, if you're an aristocrat, you get all the profits, but you don't have to work. Whereas if your bloodline is coming from peasants, you have to work and you have to settle to something less after doing all the work and you're all the majority. So again, it's the same structure as the slave society. In this, it just the names of the class have changed and the features have changed. That's it. And Karl Marx says after that we have the society we have today, which is the capitalistic society, where the possession of land is not the decisive factor anymore. Money is the decisive factor. More money you have, more powerful you are. So under this system, again the same format continues. The minority, which is the rich class, they control everything. They have the instrument of state in their hand, and they suppress the majority of the working class, who are the poor people, that they have to do all the work, whereas the rich minority is not doing anything and getting all the profit, whereas the working class have to do all the work and settle to something smaller, right? So just like the slave owners use the instrument of state to suppress the slaves to get their work done, just like the aristocrats use the instrument of state to suppress the peasants to get their work done, similarly nowadays in the modern context, the rich people use this instrument of state to get their work done and suppress the working class, which is the society we are living currently at the moment. So Karl Marx says this fourth era of the society ends when finally the working class decides to stand up against their dominating rich minority, right? When the working class stands up and say, you know what, we are done, we are fighting against you, and when the working class stands up and finally when they take that instrument of state to their hand, it is the beginning of the socialist society, which is the fifth era, which means the state still exists, that instrument still exists, but it is in the hand of the working class, not the dominating minority. Now the domination is done by the working class majority, right? So when the working class majority gets this instrument to their hand, they start using that for a better purpose, which is creating a classless society, right? So whatever you study in this lesson as the main features of a socialist state, those are the main features of this fifth era. When the state is handled, when the instrument of state is in the hand of the working class majority, and when the working class handles the state, these are the main features. So they create a one party system, they create a public property system, they create an equal profit division, they create an absolute economic equality, right, and all that. So those features are there in this fifth era, which means the state still exists, but in the hands of the working class. So they use this instrument for a good purpose now, which is creating a classless society, and to prevent that rich minority from making a comeback. That rich minority may attempt to gain their power back, and you use the instrument of state to prevent that from happening. Alright. So finally, when that instrument is properly used, and when you manage to make sure that the rich class doesn't have a comeback, and a proper equal profit division is created, and an absolute equality is created, and also a classless society is created, and when that system is global, when everywhere in the world there is no class difference, there is no rich or poor difference, you come to the advanced communist society, or else the future communist society, which means that there is no class difference and it's global, whereas we are back to where we started in the very beginning. No one is rich, no one is poor, every person has to work equally, and every person gets profit equally. So once you get that, you get the future communist state. And once that happens, there's no need to have a state anymore. Once that happens, the state withers away, sort of fades away, because you don't need a state anymore. Okay. So advanced communist society is where the state is no more. They don't no need for a state, and the state fades away, right? Okay, so this is basically the idea of the communist theory or the Marxist theory on the state, or even in the syllabus it might say that the socialist theory on the state. Either ways, this is what you need to know: what are the features of the state, and what are the 6 social eras explained by Karl Marx. All right.